Was it good?
Yes.
It was.
Louder?
Yes.
Thank you. We're going to start some knowledge sessions, and it's going to be very, very interesting. I promise you this. We have lined up a few thought leaders and industry specialists to talk about a couple of very interesting topics. And we're going to start with disruptive technologies and disruptive strategies, how it impacts your businesses, what it means for your organizations, and how you need to go about disrupting other people's businesses, right? Now, this is how we're going to run it. We're very happy to have Professor Sadagopan. Unfortunately, because of slight flu, he couldn't fly to China. But we have hooked him on the video link, and thanks to Danberg, we've been able to get him on the video link. Professor, over to you, sir.
No, he's put his mic off on the other side. So his mic is off on the other side.
Professor, we can't hear you. Professor, can you hear us? We can't hear you. You might want to unmute your mic, sir. We can hear you now, sir.
I'm sorry, I'm told that it is already unmuted. There's a small glitch.
We can hear you now, sir.
You are able to hear now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so tell me, how long is my slot? 7 minutes, 3 minutes?
About between 3 to 7 minutes, sir.
7 minutes?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I think you have the moderator, right? The moderator will call me when I should come, or should I start now?
You can start now, sir.
We can start now. Okay,
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone.
No.
I have just a couple of slides. I'm just kind of sending those slides across. And it is a great honor and a privilege to be part of this very elite group. I was going through the list of participants. I think the entire CIO crowd from India has migrated for 3 days to China, right? So it's kind of nice to be such an august audience. And what I thought I will do is to really look at disruptive thinking, okay, as the theme for the next about 5 to 6 minutes. Okay. And all that I should say is, when I was mentioning this to a couple of my friends in the US corporations in Bangalore, they were amazed. And they said that, look, here is a time when almost every senior fellow in many of the US corporations are crying over each other's shoulders. Here is a group of guys who kind of go all the way to a great place called Beijing and having some real fun and frolic. And of course, quite a bit of networking and learning. And hopefully after unwinding and learning, you'll come back and do some great work. So this itself is disruptive thinking, right? And let me kind of look at what Gartner had kind of predicted as the disruptive technologies. They have 10 of them. What I am doing the next about 6-7 minutes is to take a look at 4 of them. The multi-core processors, virtualization, cloud computing, and social networks. Okay, these are the 4 things, and how they can actually give you the ways of doing disruptive thinking and strategizing disruptively. To drive home this point well, I'm going to use what I call the 3 mantras in my next slide. Okay, the 3 mantras are: copy shamelessly, expand mindlessly, and think beyond form, not form, think beyond form. Okay? So the reason why I chose these things is because it is easy for you to remember so that we can have some questions. Second thing is, instead of looking at these technologies in isolation, they kind of bring together these four technologies in a seamless way. Okay? Let me start with the first one, what I call copy shamelessly. Okay? With no disrespect, man, I think what sometimes the Chinese corporations have done extremely well, not that they violated any rule, but sometimes it is important to copy, okay, shamelessly, not in the sense of the usual shame, but I think it is important for us to take it to its logical end. Let me explain. What I find, particularly looking at the profile of many of you, is that every Indian organization seems to be reinventing the wheel when it comes to large-scale IT implementation. There is one area where I think we need some disruptive thinking. Let me take three specific examples. I do find amongst you many who have implemented a ERP, and you know how it is. India is almost a SAP country, okay, even though my other friends may not necessarily like it, but that's the reality. And look at the banking friends, they all have implemented core banking. But what I find is, if tomorrow one more bank is going to take it out, they pretty much go through the same pain. And I see no reason why they just can't take the best practices from others without really in any sense violating anything which is privy to a specific bank. Today I find implementing SAP or implementing core banking is not your differentiation. The way in which you benefit from the implementation is in fact the differentiation. So there's no reason why you have to kind of redo it the same way. In the process, I think the only people who benefit happen to be consultants, which include yours truly also. And why are you kind of benefiting the consultants? We should just share some of the best practices. To give an example, certain things, the same Finacle which runs ICICI, I'm just taking one example, and a few things which ICICI does are remarkably good. You know, as an end user, you don't really have to spend too much time, and the reports are extremely well done and very precise and exactly the way you want. Whereas you find many of the public sector banks particularly, they give you a longish report. The reports are nice, the information is the same, but at the end, I actually have to spend much more time, and I think it is completely needless. So again, you find that I'm not giving specific examples because some of them are under implementation, they don't have the permission to say so. But with the cloud computing, there are phenomenal successes, and so is virtualization. I think it is important that as a CIO community, because when you're all there, I think you have to learn from each other, and there is no point reinventing the wheel. So that is the reason why I say copy shamelessly. There is so much you can do, and you can get a jump start the processes. Okay, somebody who had core banking implemented in 2005 and taken 3 years. There is no reason somebody who did it in 2009 also have to spend 3 years. The same thing with SAP, others. Okay, I think this is one thing which would be a disruptive thinking. I think you should probably go to the rooftop and say what used to take 3 years, you are able to do it in 3 months. And it is eminently possible because you could actually standardize the same report, but there is no reason why you have to come up with your own 600-page RFP with all the reports. Just copy. And I don't think there is anything intellectual property violation here. That's at least my view. The second one is what I call expand mindlessly. I do find that a time has come for the Indian corporates to adopt some of the tools and take it to the logical conclusion across the organization. I think still are struggling with something works in Delhi, something works in Bombay, something does not work in Chennai, you know, things like this. I think we still have islands in the organization. I was pleasantly surprised when we actually had taken a look at